We hope.
All right. Well, I'm Luke Dyer. I have two full-time jobs. I'm the town manager for the town of Van Buren, and I'm the town manager for the town of Van Buren. It feels like two full-time jobs. It's a day and night deal. So, um, and I thank you, Ann, for asking me to share this presentation because I want to say it was the experience of a lifetime, but I'm going back in March because I just couldn't get it all. So I'm already planning a second trip. So just to quickly tell you how this got started, I decided I was going to go on YouTube and learn how to cook Thai food in one pan because I live alone, and you know how hard it is to buy food for one person, and I like to cook. I love to cook. So started watching videos on YouTube, which led me to an interest in Thai culture, which led to me looking at houses in Thailand and recognizing they had no kitchens. They have rooms that look like kitchens, but all they have is a hot plate in the kitchen. That there was a lot of communal eating. They all go to night markets to eat, where there's thousands of vendors. And I just became so interested in that. I thought, I want to go see that with my own two eyes. And so I just started, I planned a trip by myself to go walk in Thailand for 12 days and just tour Thailand and experience that. So I ended up, through my studying and everything, I learned about this art walk and some other experiential tourism things that I'm going to share with you in this presentation. So let's pray. When I hit this button, it does what it's supposed to do. PowerPoint Live isn't available for your organization. Okay, what does that mean?
Okay. Well,
is there a way for me to share my screen?
Well, I certainly thought so.
Okay, right there.
Try one more time, and then if it doesn't work, email me your presentation. I know it's not ideal, but I'll do it.
Okay.
You certainly should be able to share. This isn't like, you know, where you have to give permissions sometimes on Zoom, but I'm looking, Luke.
Okay, hold on. I think that it shared.
It's coming. There we go. You're good.
So let me hit the button that says slideshow. And then from the beginning. Okay, how's that?
Awesome.
Okay, all right. So part of my trip, I had discovered this art walk in central Bangkok in one of the poorer neighborhoods. And I have a friend of a friend that I was introduced to that lives in Bangkok who offered to spend a day with me to give me a tour around the city. And so when she came to pick me up at my condo in Bangkok, I showed her on my phone that I wanted to go to this place, Talat Noi, and that there's an art walk there. And she said, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's where I want to go." I've never even heard of that before. And I said, "Okay, well, this is where I want to go because I've been watching all these pictures." Anyway, we're jumping the tuk-tuk because that's the best way to travel around Bangkok. And I showed the tuk-tuk driver my phone, and he's like, "I know where you want to go, but I've never heard of this either. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." So anyway, we end up landing where I was hoping we would land, and started the art walk as we were moving along. And this is one of the murals. Every picture in this presentation I took or was taken. If I'm in the picture, obviously someone else took it. And so when I first got there, when I first arrived in the entrance of this walkway, it really just looked like nothing. Like this was where the tuk-tuk driver dropped me off and dropped us off, and off we went. And what makes this Talat Noi unique is that Thailand is unique in itself. It's one of the few countries in the world that's never been colonized. They've always been Thai. They've always had their own government, and it's always been Thai. But there is a large Chinatown there, and this Talat Noi district borders that Chinese district. So there's quite a blend of Chinese and Thai traditions throughout that area. It's near the main river that runs through Thailand, and there's a lot of shop houses and different cool multicultural things that happen there along that part of the district. So this is kind of the first set of murals that appeared when I turned the corner and started walking through. On the right And then just a little quick more about Thailand. There is a large waterfront trade there still. There is a floating market in Thailand that people actually on different days of the week, they go up and down the river in these types of boats and they sell from their boats to each other, which is fascinating and amazing. And there's so many architectural gems there. The temples, there are thousands of temples. They're all available to visit. And I guess what fascinated me about it is, I look at our country as such a young entity. It's less than 300 years old with us here. But their country has thousands of years of history, and a lot of these temples. I was looking at statues and other carvings and things that were thousands of years old. It just took me. So if the only thing you get out of this is that Luke Dyer took a trip to Thailand, get this, that there are things that they are doing in experiential tourism that cost no money. They are so simple. It is such a simple thing that it doesn't have to be a golden shiny spoon. The things that they are doing for such a little amount of money is so fascinating. And I think that's what really struck me when I was doing the art walk and I was doing some of the other experiential tourism things. So one of the things that they're really good at is wayfinding. So once I was into the main entry to the art walk, I kept encountering all the different wayfinding things for different parts. So not only was I in a place where they were doing an art walk, but they also had, if you look at the bottom right on that picture on the pole, that's actually another experiential tourism walk, which is to look at these antique manhole covers, and they each have a different design on them. And they're hundreds of years old. So, or over 100 years old. So it just something so simple that caught my eye, and I thought, this is such an easy thing for us to do. It's just so easy. Along one of the main walls when I first walked in was a series of photographs that apparently get changed out quite often. They're on some kind of a metal, they're printed onto a metal or a tin plate somehow. And the mounting system, because that's who I am, I got to figure out how these things work. It's a very simple mounting system so that they could be easily changed out. There were quite a few walls with these different photographs. And then if you look over in the right-hand corner of them, each of them had a QR code so you could learn about the photographer. You could follow the information, and it was more than just, here's a photograph. It gave you an opportunity to do something else, to be kind of a part of the image and learn more. And again, you'll see more wayfinding that's just very cheap. And it's not a fancy place. Like this is in the slum. This area, this Talat Noi, is famous because it is where all the mechanics work. Like they repair all the cars and those mini bikes there, those scooters. There's a billion scooters there, and they're tearing these scooters apart right before your eyes. It's kind of famous in the art world for being a place where there's a lot of reuse. So they reuse a lot of these parts to create artwork, and a lot of it's recycled stuff. So that was fascinating. And then again, these are more of the photographs. This wall, there was another wall around the corner that was the same kind of presentation, just very simple, not fancy. And then you start getting into a lot of the mural work on some of the other walls. And I took several photos of all the different murals. A lot of them are created by like schools or just artists wanting to expose themselves. And I had an app on my phone that I can actually look at the Thai writing and translate the Thai writing. So I kind of knew what some of them were. Some of them were quotes from artists, even, American artists and different historians and things. I thought that was pretty fascinating. And other parts of it, this Fiat 500 is featured in so many murals. And when I first was walking through, I kept seeing this this fiat. And I thought, what is the significance of this fiat? Like, why is it so prominent in so many different murals? Or it's set back a little bit in murals, and there's got to be something to this fiat. But all the different, and there's our little fiat again over there on the right. It just keeps popping up. And again, because it's a blended culture, you see
with the little cat, the fiat with the cat peeking out.
Yeah, with a little cat. Yeah. And some of the murals, again, like really, this is more Chinese culture. The dragon is more prominent in Chinese culture than it is Thai culture. So there's a lot of different blends of this art there. And near every mural is a QR code again. So you could actually learn about the artist. You could learn, you know, have a little more information about why it was created. And I was always checking these QR codes. It took me quite a while to get through there because I kept scanning them and reading them and going through and just wanted to learn about why they chose the artwork that they were doing. And some of it is just so beautiful. Like this particular mural was about 20 years old, but still beautiful. Like there was some in real life, it's beautiful in the picture, but in real life it almost felt like the eyes were following you as you were walking. It's just amazing work. And then getting closer down, as you get closer to the river, there's a lot of the Chinese prominence were coming out in a lot of the artwork as I was walking along, and again tons of information, and again QR codes that kind of describe what it is, who the artists are. And then again, great wayfinding, like you find yourself in the middle of all these alleyways. It's a maze. It is a maze, absolutely a maze. You'll notice there's a lot of English. So yeah, that was one of the things that I didn't have a problem with. There was so much English. Every sign was either Thai, Chinese, or English, so it wasn't that difficult. And then if you look at the top here, it says discovering the neighbor's identity through manhole covers. So each of the neighborhoods had a distinct design in their manhole cover, which I thought was pretty fascinating. And just beautiful work. Like, and this huge QR code, I scanned it and it kept giving me a dead link, unfortunately, but I thought that was pretty cool. And more. And there's our little Fiat 500 down there once again, prominent. And again, all the I just was struck by all the QR codes at how that led you to another experience. Not only were you able to just look at the art, but you could learn about the art. And I think that's something we can easily do in our communities. That's not something that's that complicated. There's a lot we can do with that. And then this was one of the quotes I scanned on my phone off one of the murals, and it's art is not what you see, but what you make others see. And that really struck me when I was out there looking at it, that is the truth. Of course, everybody takes in art differently. And I was just fascinated by all the beauty and the talent of the work that went into it. And then amongst all these art pieces and all this amazing artwork are these little entrepreneur shops. And it's like a thriving small business district within the art walk of all these simple shops and stores. This is a chocolate shop called 32 Bar. And so right inside of this this building, and look at this. Like there's your Fiat 500. That's where this comes from. So that's once I saw the Fiat, and I was trying to be so respectful of the people, the Thai people. Behind me were three guys sitting in a little open space tearing apart a motor, and they had grease on their face, their arms, their legs. They were covered in grease ripping apart this motor. I so wanted to take a picture of them, but I thought, you know what, these people are just saying they're living. They're not. And I didn't take the picture, but I was fascinated by that in the middle of all this, they were still doing what the old district did, which was motor work. They're all mechanics. It's a mechanical district. And so there's that lovely Fiat. I don't know how long it's been there. The lady that was in this shop did not speak great English, and Shanna that was with me was helping translate, but it was difficult understanding why this Fiat was here. And then that's walking in. Now this is a Thai lady that went in ahead of me. I am a giant. I am a giant in Thailand, a giant. And this is me standing in front of that door. And when I got inside there, I couldn't stand up at all. Like I was hunched completely over. The floor is gravel. And so it was such a simple place. Like you look at this old building, it doesn't really, there's nothing aesthetically pleasing. If you were going to a restaurant in South Portland, Maine, and that's where it was happening, you wouldn't go in there to eat. Like really, but just such a simple place. When you walked in, it's like the basement of one of these buildings. They had it all secured off. They actually make all the chocolate there. They were making chocolate when I was in there. There was a little showcase that presented all their chocolates. It's called 32 bar because, or 20, whatever it is, 23 bar, because that's how many different products that they have. Like that's how many they have at all times. And you could sample. So she was giving us little samples to try. And just to give you an idea of pricing, so let me see if there's a picture that has a little better price. So where it says 390 baht which is their money, is about $11. And it was a lot of product. It was 8 assorted, basically chocolate bars, and would be less than $1 a bar. So not bad at all. 50 baht on the bottom there is about it's about $1. It's about $1.10, something like that. And then in my YouTube searches, I discovered this thing that English-speaking people like me that were traveling kept talking about, this secret cafe. That it was like it was hard to find, but once you found it, you knew you were there. And so it is a story of a Thai lady. There's a coffee culture in Thailand. People love coffee. They love roasting their own coffee, brewing their own coffee. There's coffee shops everywhere. There's even a Tim Hortons. I was pretty thankful about my old Timmy Ho-Hos. I'm proud of being next to Canada and have Tim Hortons. But they have a coffee culture. There's coffee shops everywhere. And so I was fascinated to try to find this place. And the story is about this lady that roasted her own coffee, started her own little coffee shop. And so as I was hunting around trying to find it, I came upon this mural. And there was Mother Roaster on the wall. I thought, okay, well, I'm here. This is the place, man. I think I found it. So Shanna that was with me and I were looking through the door, and she's like, I don't think this is it, Luke. Like this can't be it. This is not the right place. I'm like, yeah, but it says Mother Roaster on the door. She goes, I don't think so. So I stuck my head in, and that's what I was looking at. And I'm like, geez, I don't know. And so we stood out and kind of conversed back and forth, like, maybe it's just an advertisement sign or whatever, that this can't be it. Well, as I looked through the hallway and looked up, I could see this man mural drinking a coffee at the table. I thought, all right, I'm going to go in and look. And she's like, I don't know, this is somebody's house. I said, I'm gonna go look. So I walked in, climbed up the stairs, and turned the corner. And at the top of the stairs, I ended up at Mother Roaster. So they weren't kidding. It was a place to find. But once I walked through the door, there were several people in there, everybody enjoying fresh roasted coffee. It was a really cool vibe. The cafe had a really great vibe. This was a Chinese family, I believe. A couple of them spoke very good English. We ended up just talking about what they were doing, how they found the place. And then this is the cafe as it was set up, which I just thought was amazing. And there's the giant standing among the people. And then another part of the tour, like a part of this was I kept coming across these painted elephants, and I was scanning the QR codes. And it's famous for these painted elephants. Elephants are really prominent in Thai culture. They represent a lot of prominence in that country. And there was a global initiative to try to conserve elephants and to raise money for elephant conservation. And part of that process was to have these painted elephants and sell some of these painted elephants. And they're everywhere. And it just talks about painting a brighter future. If you look at the picture of the elephant, it's got an artificial limb. So that's what some of the money is used for, to help save the elephants, which is amazing. There's less than 50,000 Asian elephants left in the world. And so this is an attempt to raise money to help with that. And every time I would come across one, I would take pictures. I just thought they were fascinating. And there were several different little shops that had different styled painted elephants, so you could buy them, and the money was for a cause. So they were painted by when they buy the elephants, they're just white, and then artists paint them and they present them to the shops to sell. And so you saw so many different like variations and awesome different, and they're all hand painted. Every bit of them are hand painted, which I thought was amazing as well. So you would not often see two the same, which I thought was really cool. And then, it just kind of taught me and showed me more about the power of art in a community. Like there were people walking all through this community. I thought it was interesting because Shanna that was with me is Thai, has lived in Bangkok for 10 or 12 years. She's from the country, but and she had never heard of this place and was fascinated. And after I came back home, she's gone back with her groups of friends twice, just because she enjoyed it so much. It was so fascinating. And then, the more I pondered on my parts of my experience, the more I was realizing that we have the ability to provide something for everybody, just like Jane Jacobs said. And because it can be created by everybody, and we don't have to do this on our own, that our communities can do this work, and it is not a big and can do it at not a big expense. So one of the reasons why I went there was to learn about cooking, and I discovered this cooking class called Cooking with Poo. And it is a genius marketing strategy. And this little lady named Pooh, who picked us up at this mall. So the mall, they have a mall there that's all Chanel. It's all high-end, like Rolex, all the high-end names, Louis Vuitton. They pick you up in a van at that mall, and then you literally end up in the absolute slums of Bangkok where this cooking school is. And their country is noted for having some of the best food in the world, and I believe it is. It was unbelievable. A couple times I had food that was a little hotter. Well, not a little, a lot hotter than I should have ever put my lips to. At one point, I thought my ears were going to melt off. I ordered something with a little too many Thai peppers, but and then it's another experiential tourism thing that we can do. Like we can do this here in Van Buren, for example. We have a rich Acadian culture here, and we serve ploys and gratin and chicken stew, and it is part of our culture, and it's something that we really ought to be doing here, is teaching other people how to do it. So it continues. So this lady Pooh started this cooking school, and that's her right there. And we were 11 people at the school. She had 12 different places set up with hot pots and just pans. And part of the trip, when we left the mall, we ended up in a wet market so that she could show us how to look at different types of food to buy. So that was part of the trip. And so we were in the wet market. They were making egg rolls in the wet market. They were selling all the vegetables. Like this 50 baht bag, you see the bag there in the center of the screen of Thai chilies. That's about $1.20. So really nothing. Like the cost of things there is unbelievably cheap. And as you wandered through the market, you could buy, there was probably 1,000 vendors in that market. You could have walked for hours and hours and hours. And but she knew where she was going. The whole group followed her. She took us through the market. And this was one of the things that was a little hard to swallow. Like if you have a weak stomach, there's a lot of raw food out there and it's there all day. Like you have to kind of just close your eyes and just, realize that that's when they're eating in the restaurants, this is where they're shopping. And they call it a wet market because it's like constantly being sprayed down. Everything is constantly getting coated with water in there, and the ground is wet everywhere. There's ice flying everywhere. You're walking through ice all the time. It's fascinating. And then when we got dropped off by the van, this was the alleyway down to her studio. And her studio was her house. She's actually moved across the street, across the little alleyway now to another house. But she had created this little studio in her first home. Very simple, and we were introduced to all the different types of Thai fruits, some of the most commonly used vegetables that are used in Thai dishes, and then off we went cooking. We were cooking with poo, and it was awesome. And they would demonstrate for us, and you see she has a t-shirt that says I cooked with poo and I liked it, which I think is so funny. And they would sell the shirts, they sold aprons. Poo has a book. I bought the book just of all the different Thai recipes. And then that is a cashew pork dish that we made. The word cashew in Thai is 7 syllables and 6 words. It is the craziest thing. It's become a joke. Shanna and I continue to communicate because I want to go back, and she's going to take me some other places that we didn't go. So this is one of the dishes. We made Thai curry. That was so hot. It was the hottest thing I've ever eaten in my life. Like I don't think I could stomach that again. My stomach was ripped, but that's Thai curry, green curry. And then at kind of the end of the cooking class, which was really cool, is that she had laid out 14 different fruits. And on the right-hand side was like the least sweet. And then progressively, she had a sweeter fruit going progressively down. And then coming back to the left-hand side, that's what they would consider the sweetest fruit in Thailand, which is, what is the name of that fruit? Durian fruit. And if you ever go to Thailand, every hotel and every Airbnb has a penalty if you bring that fruit into your room. It smells horrible. And having been a police officer and having experienced some horrible smells in my life, that was comparable. But they love it. It's a sweet food, and it's a sweet fruit. And people, when it's durian season, people are buying durian. They can't wait to have it. And then that's Shanna. That was ended up being my friend from guiding me around. We had so much fun the first day that she told me, look, when you come back to Bangkok, because I stayed in another city after this. I went to a city called Hua Hin for 9 days. And stayed there, which was like a retirement community, which is really what I wanted to experience too. And then when I came back to Bangkok, we ended up hanging out for a couple of days and went to a whole bunch of temples and places that she thought that would be interesting for a tourist. So we had a good time. And that's it. That's the trip. And just like I said, if you get anything out of this little conversation, it's that there's so many possibilities that we could be doing that don't require to be the fanciest place, that people just enjoy the experience. And I think it's more the experience than the expense. And that cooking class cost me $45 US. She had 11 students, And the groceries that she bought for all of us to cook 3 different meals, we actually cooked 3 different meals, cost her $18 US when I did the math in my head later, when I did the math later.
Yeah.
So,
amazing.
it's just a very inexpensive and just an opportunity. So it's something I've already proposed here at the Acadian Village on Saturdays to start doing Acadian cooking, like even if it was just ploys, because even in Fort Kent, like if you're a MMA in Fort Kent making ploys, you don't make them the same way that they make them in Van Buren. Fort Kent, they add milk to their ploys in the MMAs, and in Van Buren, milk is a no-no. Like, oh my God, no, you don't put milk in there. It's water, only water. So I just think we have something to offer at a really low price that any of our communities could do, and I was just
That's
fascinated.
so great, Luke. Like, cheers. It was amazing. And I wrote down so many notes. I'm going to just turn off the recording. And then if you want to stop sharing, we can see if people have any questions for you.
Yeah. Let me see if I can stop sharing.
Great.